The other day, I was walking to a job interview at X Corp. On the way there, I noticed a hungry homeless raccoon. I couldn't help but stop and feed it. And as a result, I totally missed the interview. On the next day, as I was laying in bed depressed and anxiety-ridden about my future career, my phone rang. The company had surprisingly called me back in for another go at the job position. I was shocked, but I went. Lo and behold, as I entered the office, I saw the boss of all of X Corp was that very same homeless raccoon. I got the job. Never judge someone based on how they look. Or I guess if they're a raccoon. A classic LinkedIn post.
This is a certified LinkedIn classic.
What's the procedure?
It's difficult to compete with Twitter, where you go to show you're smarter than everyone, Instagram, where you go to show you're happier than everyone, or Facebook, where you go to show how the Minion movies are actually a gateway to Satanism. But even in this overcrowded arena of social networks, LinkedIn still somehow managed to carve out its own island of users. By combining the two holy grails of adulthood, the office, and meaninglessness, it amassed a horde of self-aggrandizing mediocrities and pit them against each other in the fight over who gets to be the king of the NPCs. Now, I stay away from calling people that because it's a tad bit elitist and comes off as if living a quote-unquote ordinary life is somehow bad, especially in an era when most of our lives are, well, pretty much out of our control. But here, I am sorry, but the word NPC really applies. Genuine LinkedIn posters who post not out of career necessity, but because they believe themselves thought leaders of the corporate world, where, let's face it, thought isn't really in high demand, or people who perceive loyalty to the firm or so-called entrepreneurial values as the genuine guidelines of human civilization, are so incredibly vanilla, so incredibly stock, as if written with zero backstory and no real impact on the world around them, that they have truly deserved the honorary title of NPC. Now, there are two categories of LinkedIn users, really. The ones humble bragging and trying to push their career forward, like this golden example that I could never have phrased as well myself.
Dear fellow friends and connections on LinkedIn, it is with a heavy but full heart that I am announcing today is my final day at X Corp. I still remember walking through the office doors for the first time at HQ. I was a young, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed account executive ready to tackle my corporate dreams. The air was crisp and life was full of possibilities. But now, 5 years, 3 promotions, 2 office remodels, 1 million laughs, and some cries, and countless experiences and relationships later, this chapter has finally come to an end. I want to thank Samantha B., Kelly H., Ronald M., and the rest of the sales team who guided and helped me along this journey. None of this was possible without all of you. But as they say, when one door closes, another opens. And that door is a senior sales VP role at SmartTech. I know that I'm once again stepping into the unknown, but with all that I learned from the great folks over at X Corp, I know I can tackle anything thrown my way. So look out, SmartTech. There's a new sheriff coming this Monday, and I hope you all follow and cheer me along my journey as I tackle a new endeavor in this crazy thing we call corporate life. So in closing, I hope you all have an amazing weekend. And remember to shoot for the stars, because who knows, you might just land on the moon.
And the second category, LinkedIn influencers. If influencers in general were the bottom of this barrel we call a society, then that barrel would have a secret lower compartment hidden behind a shit-covered button you gotta really dig in to press in order to find LinkedIn's so-called thought leaders. This absolute shitsty is a gathering spot for grindset alpha kings, astrology for men peddlers, entrepreneurs whose business is selling courses on how to be an entrepreneur, and bait posters competing over who can lick the boot the hardest. Like these fine ladies and gentlemen right here. A client emailed me saying I was fired today. I replied saying, "You weren't fired, you were promoted to entrepreneur. Now we can focus on helping her grow her business full-time. Congratulations on your promotion to entrepreneur. #entrepreneur, #business." Work-life balance in your 20s is an easy way to guarantee a mediocre career. If If you buy just one rental property a year, that cash flows $500 a month after all expenses. You'd make $6,000 a year for one house, $12K for two, $18K for three, $24K for four, $30K for five houses. Go as fast or slow as you want, just start being an owner. Okay, Zasha, I'll go buy a fucking house right now. If you're an employee, asking for a 3-week vacation ain't the best idea, because those 3 weeks will show the company that they can manage without you. So better ask for less. Hire slow. Do 3-hour interviews, have coffee, lunch, dinner. Ask your team to meet the candidate and see if it's a good fit. The higher the position, the slower you should hire. I've been interviewing someone for the last 5 years. The person doesn't even know it's going well. Oh God. But before we continue, you know what's more cringe than any of these LinkedIn posts? Not having access to most of the good shows and movies I want to consume with my every fiber only because some corporate executive decided they should be available in my region 3 months after release. This is where Atlas VPN comes into play. Just one click and the likes of Netflix or Apple TV start thinking I'm some Californian stuck in traffic or a Brit enjoying a succulent Chinese meal, and voila, I get to watch whatever I want. But the power of Atlas VPN doesn't stop there. It can help you truly keep your Google searches in private, it stops malicious links and annoying ads, and tells you when someone is trying to steal your data. A one-package-fits-all, which is now available as the most affordable online protection for just $1.70 a month, plus 6 months extra with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It costs less than a can of beer, and it would not only get you great and practical protection, but it would also really help this channel grow and my mortgage decline. Now go ahead and enjoy the Christmas discount as Atlas VPN Premium at the $1.70 price point per month plus 6 months extra with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your privacy and get many benefits of Atlas VPN for the ridiculously low price. You can take this deal by clicking the link in the description below. Be quick, as it's a time-limited offer. Side tangent. Just like on most social networks, on LinkedIn you can write up your personal description, something that will entice potential employers or fellow LinkedIn influencers to give you a follow. Some of these come from a perfectly acceptable place of the grind, people overinflating what they do in order to sound like a better candidate for jobs they're trying to get. Stuff like underwater ceramics technician instead of dishwasher, or liquid fossil transfer technician instead of gas station worker, monetary exchange specialist instead of bank teller, or knowledge acquisition specialist when you're just still in school. For example, I call myself a content creator instead of subscriber beggar, which reminds me, please subscribe to the channel. It's literally free. Do it. Press it. Please do it. Thank you. Moving on, there's some pretty decent self-ironic titles like The Sandman instead of anesthesiologist, florist instead of drug dealer, or nerd herder instead of a project manager. These are all fine, more than fine really, because they are usually posted by people trying to get around the incredibly gray reality of LinkedIn, and in doing so likely lower their chances for scoring an interview because 60% of the people in HR have had their soul ripped out of them after around the 300 CV they probably had to read through. Where the cringe really begins is when it's not self-ironic, or at the very least self-aware, when it's just bad shit like ambassador of buzz or marketing rock star for a marketing specialist, brand warrior instead of brand manager, retail Jedi for a cashier, chief obedience officer instead of COO, happiness hero instead of customer support, or I can't believe I'm actually saying this, chief cheerleader, and I kid you not, for CEO. These attempts at building a name as far removed from your actual calling come from the inability for the alienated masses to accept their position as a cog, who instead of understanding that fact and attempting to change it through both personal, communal, practical, ideological, and philosophical growth, prefer to put on their pink-tinted glasses and embrace a silly boy attitude while crying inside. If I call it something else, something exciting, exciting. It might turn out to be something else and something exciting. Sorry. But back to the worst offenders of anything, LinkedIn, the algorithm milkers. You see, after 5-6 years of a platform's life pass, it kind of automatically develops an algorithm which influences just what makes you go viral. Glistening abs on a yacht for Instagram, casual, unbothered hot takes for Twitter, and whatever this is for LinkedIn. By the end of this year, I'm giving away $25 million. That might sound like a joke to you, but it's real. Here's what I mean by this. I get offered between $25K and $50K per hour for speaking engagements. For my next book, I've spent over 1,300 hours writing it. I'm giving away this book basically for free. It will cost only $1 to purchase to track total sales. My wife passed away in her sleep last night. It was unexpected. I am beside myself. Please remember to let the ones you love know that nothing is more important than family. Even as much passion as I have for cybersecurity, nothing compared to the love I've had for my wife. She was the one that suggested that I go down the cybersecurity path and my drive to be successful. I actually did die once and was back at work in 5 hours. Had an accident and was dead for about 9 minutes. Went to ER in an ambulance. They patched me up and I went home and worked from home for the rest of the day. What's your excuse? Unpopular advice. Stop jumping between jobs so much. 1 to 2 years in a job is not enough. You never actually learn to do your job well if you keep jumping. It's a huge red flag to me, and in my opinion, it's not worth the 20% salary bump you're going to get. Does this make me old school? Let's take a dive into why I said that if you make less than $400K a year as a husband and father, you should be ashamed of yourself. Life isn't about comparing yourself to other people. It's about surpassing your limits and breaking barriers for your loved ones. This is my 2nd year I've been married, and the 2nd year my husband has taken a similar photo of me during a Valentine's Day dinner taking a work call. Well, understand the split between work and so-called life. I've never been good at it, and my husband understands that. Helping other people never sleeps. But don't just blame the success and prevalence of posts like this on the algorithm. It was only through years and years of continuous upvotes that this sort of content became the norm. It's exactly because of the ideology of LinkedIn users themselves that this became what the platform nourishes itself on. The idea that we must not only compete in the physical realm of the office, juggling between tasks, requirements, and deadlines, but also interpersonal relations to our bosses, colleagues, and paychecks. No, by taking this online, we must now juggle all potential future bosses and colleagues, outperform that high school friend who updated his job description last week and pressed at X, or make a past boss regret mistreating someone who's become oh so successful. It takes the flex model of pretty much all of social media, but it brings it to the professional workspace. You must not only have a clear head and impeccable performance in the physical world, no, your digital version now has to be as clean and established as possible. Some HRs or hiring managers will unironically search you up and not hire you because of your inactivity on the platform, especially for higher paid positions, because just as in any cult, if you're using it and smashing your head against your standing desk's edge every afternoon because you gotta think up what to post on this corporate circle jerk of a website, then your potential employee better deliver as well. While it's absolutely hilariously fun to make fun of LinkedIn and the people who take it seriously, its sterile official environment is a direct microcosm of the real psychosis which is the office life. Many of us survive our careers by intentionally distancing ourselves from our true self in order to be able to fill the majority of our day with the shit we likely never wanted to do in the first place. Hell, in order to be allowed to fill the majority of our day with shit we likely never wanted to do in the first place and be thankful for it. It's easy to make fun of LinkedIn posters because they continue doing the things we leave back at our workplace after we check out and return to being our normal selves again. But we forget that the very NPC bots we point and laugh at are how we ourselves behave 5 to 9 hours a day, every day, for decades. By having performed our office character for so long, we have normalized it in the same way that guy normalized being cringe on LinkedIn. Every time we clock in, we are forced to put on a mask and completely turn off most attributes that make us, us, and become someone palatable to the employer, to the colleague, to the culture. We've done it for so long that we don't even consider it something strange. We don't consider spending 8 to 9 hours being a totally sterilized version of ourselves as something unnatural. Hell, we ostracize and demean other colleagues who do what we always wanted to do, who add a bit of conversation, casual attitude, or a lack of shit to give for the corporation's cause. We not only put on the mask, but we embrace it. At least for 8 hours a day. That's why LinkedIn is so weird, because it has garnered the more extreme versions of us normies. It has garnered people who no longer discern between normal me and work me, people who no longer even take off the mask. I'd say meet you in hell, but I think we're already there. Thank you for watching. Now, be a good tavarish and smash that subscribe button if you liked what you saw. Or, even better, if you are able to, check out my Patreon, where for the price of less than a can of beer a month, you can help this channel run. Now, I'd like to take a moment to thank all my wonderful patrons without whom none of this would be possible. Especially
Viva comunismo en la libertad.